Have you ever wondered why, even though you try to eat better, your body doesn't seem to respond? Why does the belly continue to swell? The energy disappears and the weight insists on rising, even with all those healthy choices. The truth is that many people are trying to lose weight and protect themselves from type 2 diabetes, but end up sabotaging themselves without realizing it. And what's worse, thinking they are on the right path. The problem is not just in quantity, but in quality of what you consume. There are foods that look healthy, have pretty packaging, labels with words like fit, zero, or natural, but in practice they are deregulating your insulin, making it difficult to burn fat and accelerating the insulin resistance, one of the first steps towards type 2 diabetes. And when we combine these mistakes with a busy routine, lack of sleep and stress, the result is a body that goes into defense mode and stops weight loss. If you feel like you're trying hard and the results still don't appear, stay with me. What comes now may surprise you. And that's where the danger lies. Many parents, with the best of intentions, make dietary changes thinking they are protecting the family's health. They swap soda for boxed juices, invest in products with a light label, buy zero-fat yogurts and healthy-looking bars. But what they don't know is that many of these foods are full of disguised sugar, artificial sweeteners, and inflammatory ingredients which contribute to the increase in insulin resistance. The body begins to accumulate fat, especially in the abdominal region. The metabolism slows down, and glucose remains high for longer. Little by little, health markers get worse, even with the impression that you are doing everything right. That's why it's so important to look beyond marketing and understand what's really behind what you put on your family's plate. And if this alert is making sense to you, it shows that you care. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with other parents. Your attitude can protect many families. Let's get straight to the point, because the intention here is not to beat around the bush, but rather to alert you. What you will see now may be uncomfortable, especially if any of these foods have already become part of your or your family's routine. But it is this type of discomfort that generates change. These are the 5 foods that have a healthy appearance, beautiful packaging, and even emotional appeal, but which, according to experts and studies in metabolic nutrition, are among the main villains for those who want to avoid type 2 diabetes, control blood sugar levels, or even lose weight in a healthy way. The first on the list is industrialized fruit juice, even those that say they are 100% fruit. And here's an important point. Fresh fruit is healthy, rich in fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. But when it is processed to become boxed juice, loses essential fiber that helps control sugar absorption, and only concentrated fructose remains. A glass of juice can contain more sugar than a regular soda, and that sugar goes straight into your bloodstream, generating a glucose spike that forces your pancreas to produce more insulin. What comes next is that famous rebound effect. A sudden drop in energy, more hunger, and a cycle that hinders the burning of fat and increases the risk of insulin resistance. And you know the worst? Many mothers offer this type of juice in their lunchbox thinking they are doing the right thing. But without knowing it, they are setting a silent trigger for the body to go into imbalance. The second food is industrialized. Granola. It seems harmless, right? It has a fitness look, appears in photos with fruit and yogurt, and gives the appearance of a healthy breakfast. But when we turn the label over, what we find is another scenario. Glucose syrup, brown sugar, hydrogenated vegetable oil, and even artificial flavorings. It's an inflammatory bomb disguised as nutrition. The problem is that these hidden sugars are absorbed quickly and increase insulin production exaggeratedly, favoring fat storage, especially in the abdominal region, and contributing to prediabetes and hormonal imbalance. Especially in children and teenagers, this type of food can affect not only metabolism, but also focus, mood, and school performance. Now, let's talk about the light, zero, or fat-free yogurts. They are sold as ideal options for those who want to lose weight or control their blood sugar, but the reality is different. When removing the natural fat from yogurt, food companies need to compensate for the flavor. And that's where the artificial sweeteners, thickeners, colors, and stabilizers. Substances such as aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame K are present in most of these versions and have already been associated with negative effects on the microbiota intestinal, which directly impacts glycemic control and the production of hormones such as insulin. Furthermore, these sweeteners confuse the brain and taste buds, generating more desire to eat sweets and worsening appetite control. In other words, in addition to not helping with weight loss, it can get in the way a lot. The fourth item on the list is the famous cereal bar. Easy to carry, quick to consume. It seems practical and healthy, especially for those who live on the run or want to avoid heavier snacks. But here's a direct warning. The majority of bars available in the markets are made from corn syrup, maltodextrin, invert sugar, refined rice flakes, and almost no real fiber. This type of combination generates an almost immediate glucose spike without truly satiating you, which makes hunger return in a short time. Even worse, because it seems light, the person ends up eating more than one, thinking everything is fine. Result? A constant increase in insulin release, which over time can lead to insulin resistance, fat accumulation, and difficulty losing weight, even with the feeling of doing the right thing. And to close this list, we have one of the most common foods in the homes of those trying to eat better: refined whole grain bread. Many people buy it thinking they are making a smart swap for white bread. But the truth is that most whole grain breads sold in markets are highly processed, contain a mixture of refined flours, sugar, preservatives, and often have less fiber than you might think. This means that the glycemic index remains high. That is, the sugar present in these breads is still absorbed quickly, generating the same negative effects on blood glucose and insulin. What seemed like a healthier choice turns out to be a hidden trap. And this has a direct impact not only on the health of adults, but on children who grow up consuming this type of bread every day for breakfast or snacks. Do you realize how these choices, which at first glance seem correct, could be undermining your results, even though you're trying hard? This is exactly what leaves so many people frustrated. They make substitutions thinking that their diet is improving, but their body remains inflamed, their weight doesn't go down, and their exams don't improve. Therefore, understand what's really behind what you put on your plate. It is one of the most important steps to change this scenario, and it doesn't have to be radical. Just by identifying these villains and starting to replace them with truly natural and functional versions, you can already notice a big difference in energy, satiety, disposition, digestion, and above all, in your health. Blood glucose control. The focus here is not to demonize food, but to open your eyes. Because when we understand how marketing often disguises harmful ingredients, we stop being held hostage by labels and start making informed decisions. That's about it. It's about having control of your diet in your hands. And when you master this, the body responds. Blood glucose levels begin to stabilize, insulin begins to function properly again, and weight loss occurs as a result. Many people are tired, bloated, have difficulty sleeping, have mood swings, without knowing that the cause could be those good foods that they consume every day. Therefore, this conversation is more than an alert. It is an invitation to review what you have called healthy, because not everything that looks good is. And not everything that is sold as a solution really helps. Change starts with clarity. And now that you know who the villains are, the next step is to understand why these foods have become so common, and what you can do starting today so as not to fall into these traps again. The scariest thing is that everything we've said so far is no exception. It's reality for millions of people. Today, in the United States, more than 37 million people live with type 2 diabetes, and most alarmingly, about 20% don't even know they have the disease. And when we talk about prediabetes, the number is even more frightening. They are 96 million. American adults in this silent condition, many of them thinking they are taking good care of their health, but still maintaining the same processed foods that we saw just now in their routine. The wrong diet has become a national problem. And the worst thing is that it is no longer just on supermarket shelves. It has already entered homes, in children's lunchboxes, on family tables. And if you look closely, perhaps these same hidden enemies are now in your kitchen, waiting to be consumed once again. And that's why you need to understand what happens when these mistakes are repeated day after day on your plate. I know exactly what it's like to look at a product on the market, see the word light or fit on the packaging, and feel that feeling that you are making the right choice. I was once that person. I spent years trusting labels, thinking I was taking care of myself, making smart substitutions, trying to lose weight, trying to keep my blood sugar stable. I believed that ready-made juices were better than soft drinks. I thought cereal bars were a healthy snack. I put granola for breakfast, zero yogurt in the afternoon, whole grain bread at night. I did all of this with the intention of improving my health, as many people do. But the results didn't come. The swelling continued, the mood didn't improve, and the exams started to change. When my blood sugar started to rise and the doctor mentioned insulin resistance, I felt that something wasn't right. It was only then that I stopped to look more closely and understood what was behind my eating routine. And the truth shocked me. Everything I considered right was silently sabotaging my metabolism. It wasn't a lack of effort, it was a lack of true information. And this only drops when we see in our own body that something is not working. That's why I speak so firmly here. It's not about going on a fad diet. It's about knowing what you're putting on your plate every day. Because it is there, when choosing food, that you may be stopping your progress or creating the path to truly transforming your health. And when I changed that perspective, everything started to make sense. Energy returned, sleep improved, emotional hunger decreased. But none of this was luck. It was clarity. It was decision. It was stopping trusting only in what seems healthy and starting to understand what actually nourishes. And if you've been here until now, you've probably also felt that there's something wrong with the way healthy is sold out there. So follow me, because the next step is to understand what is stopping you from making this turnaround happen. Now that you know these villains that disguise themselves as healthy foods, that sneak into your home and routine with the promise of health, but in practice they only disrupt your metabolism, I need to ask you, which of them are still part of your daily life? Which of these products are in your pantry, in your breakfast, in your children's lunchbox, in your afternoon snack, in that quick meal that seems harmless but, day after day, is sapping your energy, deregulating your blood sugar, and keeping you away from a healthy and functional body? Because it's very easy to follow automatically. Buy what you always bought. Believe what you have always heard. But the body doesn't lie. And if you feel constant tiredness, difficulty losing weight, untimely hunger, bloating, poor sleep and tests don't show improvement, perhaps the problem lies precisely in these details. It's not about cutting everything overnight. It's about stopping and reflecting. What can I change today? What different choice can I make on my next trip to the grocery store? What lunchbox item can I replace with something really nutritious? Because it is in these small daily decisions that true transformation happens. Preventing type 2 diabetes, controlling blood sugar levels and achieving lasting weight loss do not begin with miracle diets, but with clarity in choices, with the courage to get off autopilot and with the willingness to look beyond labels. And this applies not only to you, but to those who depend on your decisions, your children, your family, whoever shares the table with you. Because it all starts with what you put on your plate. And if you feel like it's time to really change this game, follow me, because from here, we start to build the solution step by step. The truth is that avoiding type 2 diabetes has nothing to do with going on a crazy diet or cutting everything out of your life. It's not about living in fear of food, but about having real information to make conscious choices. Those foods disguised as healthy that we just exposed no longer need to be in your routine. They exist simple, affordable replacements that actually work, and which also help with the weight loss process, controlling blood sugar levels and recovering your daily energy. When you take out what inflames and put in what nourishes, the body responds. Every little change on your plate is a concrete step towards a life with less fear, less medicine, and more freedom. Freedom to eat without guilt, to wear whatever clothes you want, to live with ease. And the best part, you still teach this to those who live with you, especially your children, who will learn from your example. That's power, and you have that power now. Now that you have clearly seen the impact that these apparently healthy foods can have on your health, your energy, and your blood sugar control, tell me here in the comments, which one surprised you the most? Which one did you use thinking it was a good choice, and now you see it differently? Talk to me below, because this space is also yours, and it is through exchange that we learn even more. And hey, if this video made you rethink your diet, if it brought some kind of clarity, if it helped you understand what was perhaps holding you back from losing weight or controlling pre-diabetes, then do the following. Click the like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. This helps this content reach more people who, like you, are trying to truly take care of their health, but are often misled by misinformation or fancy marketing. And if you are a father, mother, or carer for someone, this message is even more important, because everything starts with an example. Now, if you want to go further and understand what are the daily mistakes that most accelerate the onset of type 2 diabetes, even when it seems like you're doing the right thing, then now click on the video next door or in the description. And before you leave, let me give you an important warning. Knowing what to avoid is only half the solution. The other half is knowing exactly what to put on your plate to protect your health. And there is a video here on the channel that is essential for this. In it, I show you the 10 foods that experts recommend and that thousands of people are already using every day to prevent type 2 diabetes naturally and effectively. It's not the kind of content you can leave for later. Every meal counts. Every choice has an impact. Then don't waste time. Now click on the link that appears here on the screen or in the description, because this video could be a game changer in the way you take care of your diet. I'll wait for you there.